What's up? Alpha Subconscious Bioenergetics and organized chaotic melanin release. Now, if you look into your room, your realm, you see basically your subconscious mind directly reflected to you. That means for me, for example, I'm obviously working with children in my job, and also probably in future, because we have swings here, right? Which also would get into Kalaripaya, martial arts, and a lot of different bioenergetic methods. That also gets into Hermeticism. That means the Hermetic laws, considering everything is mind, everything is frequency based, everything swings like a pendulum, and we can use things as tools which are directly represented to us and for us by Mother Nature. So we could use these things to uplift ourselves and to get out of this form and function thinking. That means I could use whatever I pick up from Mother Nature, which is trapped in Father Time, to use it for the uplifting capacity of my neurochemical releases. Now, man-made things, for example, have the same virtue as things that Mother Nature produces. But we as humans have forgotten to read Mother Nature. Now that might sound kind of bizarre for most people. It's like, oh, what's that mystical thing like? But hey, I told you what letters and symbols basically are. And it's not that I'm going to hex or witch you, but it's about taking a look into your area, which is your aura, which is, I'm not talking about like these esoteric things. I'm talking about obvious things in front of you, which represent something as a symbol to your mind, which gets into deeper layers of your own consciousness. And if you can take a look into your own consciousness, into your own mirror, from a far more distanced perspective, you would understand and analyze yourself a lot better. Because if you would go to a therapist, to a specific kind of human being who got a specific license for something, that's only another mirror to your own consciousness, isn't it? But if you would develop the perception and perspective for yourself to look into your consciousness and decode the things which are represented for you in front of you, you would understand how your mind basically works. And this is what I'm still learning, and this is what I'm still doing. So this is why you see all these tools here in front of you, which we could switch up, because I could use the barbell to lift me up to get a certain neurochemical release. I could also use a tree. I could use a stone. I could use a kettlebell. I could balance out myself on the balance ball, which would also get into my mind and obviously into my body, because the mind and the body is the same thing. And if you would look, for example, into a lot of Elliot Hall's work or into some of my old videos, you would figure out that it is about this balancing act of body, mind, and spirit, or soul. So this is what these videos are going to be in the future, because I develop myself as a caterpillar, or as becoming a butterfly, becoming a dragon who's getting out of the egg. So, melanin and stress hormones and the organized chaotic release for and of it. Why is that important? In life we have everlasting changing circumstances, and to stay balanced and anchored in my own navel, in my own novel, in my own story that I write for myself, because I erected and chosen myself in this reality to go and walk my own way and to not be basically under a spell of somebody else or of society, which we have to be in order to function as one consciousness. But at the same time, we should keep in mind that we are the creators of this realm, of this aura, which means just area. We put our hands into this land, and that means that we construct. And there are no boundaries, there are no, hey, you come from there and I come from here and this is why we separate. The separation mode is the first thing that you have to overcome in any aspect of your life. And if you overcome the separation mode, you would understand that this brain here, this mind, is one thing with its surroundings. So if I look into my mirror, if I look into my realm, I see myself in these things. And this is why I say I never go anywhere. That means that I only change my position, my neurochemistry, which is my mind space, and the things that are presented to me. And if I understand this relationship, I understand my own craftings that I put in front of me via my subconscious mind. Because my subconscious mind is always occurring. It's always producing out of the black hole, which is my pupil. And you might ask, oh Jan, now you're wearing glasses, you changed up your character? Have you problems with your eyesight? I have to consciously numb and level myself down, because otherwise I stay way too much high up in these spiritual realms. And that's good for times. That's good to swing onto the swings on one end of the spectrum and to go to one extreme, and then you swing back to the other and then you go to the other extreme. But obviously in the end it's about the balance. And the balancing act is bringing black and white together to become gray, which is brain matter. And this is how you will integrate all of the knowledge that you attained on both sides into your character, which is myself. Now, the stress release and the melanin production in the body is important to survive. And you only adapt to new circumstances once you go into the stressing mode, because then your reptilian brain has to hit, and the reptilian brain is going into survival state. Once you get into survival state, you will immediately, rapidly tap into a mode which is only about things that work, things that keep you alive, and things that you have learned, or that are still encoded in your genetics. That is still what I was talking about yesterday, about the ancestor knowledge, which is still part of your DNA, which is still part of something inside of you. That would go into a lot of different alchemical things like Shiva Mukalpa, fasting, sun and moon, breathing, the elements, which means the angels, the angles of your mind that you put out, the viewpoints of yourself. And if you start to decode all of these things, all of these letters and spells, which are basically just symbols and signs, and you could create your own symbols and signs if you would know, for example, what graffiti is, that you can, as an author, as an authority, create your own symbols and signs. So that's why I'm like, hey, sometimes I'm doing like this, sometimes I'm doing like that, and then I bring all the things that I attained over a long period of time together, and now it's this. This is what is called chaos magic, or chaos imagination. Because magic, what is magic? It's like, oh, you're a wizard, you're yeah, we are all wizards, but we are all beings. We BNG. That means we be in the God code. But the quest is, have you been to that creational aspect of yourself, or are you just somebody who is consuming? And that's good. If you only consume, that's also fine, you know. But it's about the balance. Life in the balance, rise through the challenge. That's it. So here we go. We warm up ourselves and we do some paida. Why? It seems strange, right? Why would you hit yourself? Now that goes also into survival mode. That goes into melanin and stressing yourself. Because this is, look at how monks train. Or maybe Sifu Yan Li, if you know him. Interesting, right? He's also named Yang. So, like I said, get into your ancestor code, the deepest survival mode, and then you start to adapt these things into your everyday life. So this is how you will basically move on, because it's about this flowing aspect of life. So yeah, I'm just going to hit a few movements and then that's going to be it for these videos, because I've fused it all together, the knowledge, the movement, which means move mind, the alchemy, and the things to empower myself and the things to empower yourself, basically to become this, what is called a being. You just be, you know, like a bee. You fly around and then you adapt to your environment, which is the mind, subconscious mind. And then, of course, no, don't stay in the subconscious mind for the whole period of time. But to understand the subconscious mind, you have to go there, obviously. And then you come back into the conscious, and then you fuse it together. And it's this balancing act, what I was describing as black and white, or yin and yang, or male and female. And then you start to get into your spine, which is your pole, which is, this is why I also speak about polarians, right? A single source code, which is yourself. And that's it, that's where you should look out from. And this is going to transcend and break all separation mode that we have been into, which is, as I would see it, the problem of the human mind, that we are in the separation mode and we do not identify as our room, as our realm, as our area, as the other mirror in front of me. And if I break these things in my mind, I would understand myself a lot better. And if I understand myself, I would understand yourself. And we would understand one, which is zero. Because it's an on and off switch. You have it on, off, on, off, on, off. So it's about the fluxing capacity, which gets into electromagnetism and the grid. So in these humble words, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time. Done.